By the way, there was another proposal to gain possession of the property by Mourad Owens for $5.5 million. The court gave it to Beacon for $4 million. Doesn't sound right to me. I'm going to ask Alphonse Mourad to talk about the position and the dilemma that he's in as a result of being charged for a tax by the Internal Revenue Service that he was, where he never received the funds. Mr. Mourad, would you talk about that briefly?
Yes. This is a clear case of real corruption on the federal judges. In order to establish tax credit, you have to have 10 years of ownership without interruption. The only owner who is the sole shareholder of the Mandela Developments is Alphonse Mourad. The trustee is only a manager for Alphonse Mourad, but he is not the owner. In this case, the trustee, to qualify for tax credit, Judge Kenner, in the confirmation plan, September 26, 1997, appointed Stephen Gray the owner. Therefore, Stephen Gray stepped in my shoes. So the argument here, if Stephen Gray applied for the tax credit as the owner of the Mandela Developments in 97, and he was allocated $12 million of tax credit, and he sold the property in December 31st, 97, and there was a profit of $2,088,000, what I get to do with it? He's the owner. The IRS should go after Stephen Gray. Now, the IRS finding that they don't acknowledge Stephen Gray as the owner, and they acknowledge as Alphonse Mourad, he's the S corporation, and he is the owner. And my argument, if I am the owner, then where is my tax credit? I'm entitled to $12 million. I'm entitled to the proceed of $2,088,000 from the sale. I got plenty of money to pay the IRS. I want you to be my partners. I'm a money man. I want to pay you. Where is my money? Would you believe it? The 3 judges in the prior case when I sued Hennepin King and Stephen Gray, they dismissed the case on Mourad has no standing, and Judge Kenner's order, there's no distribution from the sale coming to Alphonse Mourad. So if I have no standing to file any motion and I have no equity, what am I today assessed for $536,000 that was about 7 months ago, and now it's excess of $600,000. And the same judges on the panel, Judge Torello and Judge Lynch, they dismissed the complaint against Judge Kenner way back. They're the one who dismissed the lawsuit. Clearly, they were familiar with the background of Alphonse Mourad. They were biased. They had to bail out Beacon Residential Property, Stephen Gray, and basically that was clearly a Jewish takeover against an Arab American. This is what I was robbed with. That is the reality. And this is who's going to rob Roxbury and who's going to gentrify it. This is a new adventure. The response to this motion was one word: denied, without explanation, without even allowing me the right to appeal them, because they did not render a decision. That is shocking. So today, I owe the IRS in excess of $600,000 for money I never received. Now, I have tried to seek help, and I sent a letter to the President, to the U.S. Justice, and asked for Washington to intervene, since I have exhausted all my remedy in the state of Massachusetts. And clearly, the response was negative. There was no response, except they acknowledged in my letter. My problem right now as a Middle Eastern, and being put in receivership in America, and being barred out of the bankruptcy court for life, bluntly with Jewish judges, some of them, and Beacon Residential Property is Howard Cohen and Norman Leventhal, who contributed $3 million to the Clinton campaign and millions to the Bush campaign. Does an Arab American immigrants have a chance against those entities? I don't think so. As a response to the Secretary of the State, Condoleezza Rice, she speaks about freedom for Lebanon, democracy, and First Amendment right. I'd like her to examine the Boston Mandela scandal and go to the bottom of the IRS scandal and go into Al Mourad bought from the 11th Florida bankruptcy court by federal judges. Where is my rights in America? Why was I robbed? Are we saying basically that in the future, this whole thing, if America takes control of any portion of the Middle East, would they be put on receivership to bleed the assets like Mandela? Take the oil away and leave the people indigent for the next 100 years? I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the motive. There's dishonesty here, and the media is not reporting the truth to the American people. The American people are in the dark. They're beautiful people. I lived with them. They will act if they know the truth. The problem is the truth is not put on the table, and that's why they're confused who to believe. And that's my final statement. I'm disappointed in the U.S. Justice, and I'm disappointed there was no federal investigation by the FBI and by the U.S. Attorney to look at the fraud, the perjury, and the scandalous of $12 billion that robbed me and robbed the Mandela residents. And that's a really national story, international story, and now I'm taking this story back home where I born to the Middle East, because I have a problem with it. As an American, I question how long would I be an American. I'm on a process. Since the justice is not here, the only comeback I could make is to denounce my citizenship as a protest to the government, not to the American people, and to be able to take this story to the Al Jazeera newspaper, media, TV station in the Middle East, to all the Arab nations, and I want them to take a look. Does Al Mourad, his contribution on policies, and his goodwill to minorities in America at the age of 60 deserve to be homeless, deserve to be evicted, deserve to be foreclosed on? I think that they'll have that answer by reviewing the BostonMandelaScandal.com and go under the players, President Bush picture there, President Clinton, Senator Curry, and the IRS commissioner, and click to all these pictures. They got the resources. Let them do their homework. And I would apologize if anyone disagrees with me. I will owe a public apology. I don't think anyone will return a phone call. Thank you.
Mr. Mourad, I do have a couple of questions that I want to ask you regarding that. When Judge Kenner appointed Stephen Gray as owner instead of trustee, he was able to qualify for tax credit exceeding $11 million and rental income of over $2 million. There is a need to investigate not only his eligibility to receive this money, but also how this money was spent. Did Stephen Gray have the legal right to these tax credits?
Absolutely not. That tax credit today is fraudulent. If the IRS criminal investigation conducted an investigation, they will take that credit away from Beacon residential property today, and they will have no choice if they were going to keep it. I was told by a legal counsel they have to bring Al Mourad as a partner because he's the original owner. Otherwise, all the money will be pulled out. It's illegal.